Hello, welcome to our channel Contemporary Literary Review India. In today's interview, I am in discussion with the author Ria Chowdhury. Ria Chowdhury is a writer born in a small town amidst the Himalayas and the tea gardens in the north of West Bengal, and alumnus of Banaras Hindu University with a post-graduation in English literature, is now employed as a senior researcher and writer at a corporate firm. Her works have been published in national and international journals. Her short stories and poems have been published in Bit Magazine and Muse India. Her short stories can also be found in anthologies by the Quill House Publications. Before I move ahead, please subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon. Welcome, Ria Chowdhury. Welcome to our show. How are you?
I'm fine, and I hope you're well. And first of all, I would like to thank you for this opportunity, and I'm really grateful for this.
Okay, my pleasure. Would you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah. So, hello, I'm Ria Chowdhury, and I'm the author of Deciphering Prufrock. This is my first book, and it's a collection of poetry and short stories. I'm sorry, it's a collection of poetry and essays, personal essays.
Okay.
And apart from that, I am also working as a research associate in a corporate firm, and I mainly deal with content, like academic contents and marketing contents and any kind of digital content. So, and it's mostly written in the written form. And I'm also an independent researcher. And since I'm not enrolled into any academic institution or university right now, after completing my post-graduation, so I write my research papers on my own and I publish them.
Okay.
So that's pretty much it.
Great. So nice. How many stories have you got published till date? As you said, this is your first book, right?
Yeah. So this is my first book, but I used to publish in literary journals. Not used to, I still do. So I started writing since a very early age, probably around 12 or 13 years of age. But I never printed them and or published them. So it was during my college, and I am really grateful that I had the opportunity to read in very best institutions where the professors and my departments really used to encourage my writing, both academic and literary pieces. So in college was the first time where I published my poems. And that was actually the first time when I saw my name on print. And it's really a pleasure for any writer to see their name on print for the first time.
True.
So that is how I got into publishing. But after that, I did not get the opportunity, or I did not have the right situation to get published anywhere. It was during COVID when I published my first poem and my first short story in an international magazine. So one of my poems was published in Beetle magazine, and it's organized by Delhi Poetry Slam. And it was actually a contest. It was a writing contest where I won the contest and my writing got published. And then consecutively, year after year, I got published with them twice and three times, overall 3 times. And in between, I have published my work, both my poems and short stories in 3 anthologies. And then some of my stories got published in Muse India, which is a UGC certified journal. And there is recently an upcoming story which will be published this month. It's in Ariel Charter. So I'm looking forward to that. So overall, you can say around 4 to 5 stories has been published, and poems, a lot of poems have been published. And my book is of poems. It's majorly of poems.
Okay. Nice. Okay, can you tell me something like what topics or issues do you generally pick up for your poems or stories?
Yeah. So my poems and my stories are really class apart. They deal with different kinds of things. So poems, since I started writing poems from a very early age, so my poems are mostly internal, about the internal feelings and emotions. So majorly you will find the themes around alienation, existentialism. Uh, After growing up a little bit, it surrounds around the themes of nihilism, and I have also been an ardent reader of philosophy. So all of these themes have really encouraged me, and I believe that reading philosophy has shaped my life. So I have been inclined towards writing my poetry with these kind of things. There are also some social commentary on my poetry, but majorly it's an internal conflict. It's about the emotional uprising and all of that. But in case of stories, so now after 2020, I have moved to writing fiction majorly. So now I publish short stories. So in my short stories, I prefer talking about the social scenario. So growing up and even today, I have been I've been a fanatic of authors like Manto or Arundhati Roy. So they have heavily shaped my writing because I'm really inspired by them.
Mm.
And you know how you see a social scenario, you don't actually have to comment on everything, but you
Mm.
see the social space, you study, you observe, and how you are a part of it. The narrative is majorly objective but also partly subjective. So that is how I choose to write my stories.
Mm.
And I try to address some of the social issues that I face. Not I'm not saying that subjectively everything I have faced, but people around me, as much information and observation I can get through. For example, one of my stories which recently got published in News India, it addresses the so it's about a woman traveling around
Mm.
Bengal, and it addresses the students revolution in universities,
Okay.
and what causes these issues and what are the consequences, and how do general people who are not the university students, how they perceive this kind of fights and conflicts.
Okay.
And another one that got published in one of my anthologies, it actually
Mm.
deals with mental illness. So it is titled as the Othello and her three witches.
Okay. Okay.
So, so I have juxtaposed Othello and Macbeth's three witches. So it's about bipolarity and how your personality disorder affects you in your daily life. And another story that I have just finished, it addresses the issues of Darjeeling. So I'm from North Bengal. I live near about the hills of Darjeeling. So, so Darjeeling is my go-to place. But it's a beautiful city and it's a very touristy city. But people generally overlook the people who live in Darjeeling or in the mountains, the daily lives, the struggles, the discrimination they face, and every social hurdles they have to face. So it's not just a tourist place. I feel for Darjeeling because it is near to my place. That is why I have picked up this place. But people generally overlook these issues and
Mm.
they call Darjeeling as their home. But how much is Darjeeling our home? It's not really our home. People who live in the plains and people who live in the mountains have totally different lifestyles. So that is what I wanted to highlight.
Mm. Right. Can you share something like what is your journey till now? Because as I said that okay, you seem a very young writer, so obviously you may be facing some issues, okay, hurdles like to get published.
Okay, and now see, in today's generation, we are in a very highly globalized scenario and everything is connected. Uh, for example, sometimes I cannot imagine if I had to walk kilometers to reach a library and find out what journals actually existed. But with some clicks in my phone, I can just find out what are the literary journals that are looking for publishing, what are the publication houses that I can reach up to. So and it also depends on what is your company, with what like-minded people you are talking to. So I would like to thank the contribution of internet in this case, that has brought out so many journals to me. And there are several journals and actually online websites that give you a list of which places are accepting your publications, which places are open for publications, even on academic spaces, which journals are calling for papers, calling for submissions. So that is, internet is actually has the main role to play when publishing. So I found out through internet only that through which.
True.
And in case of academic writing, I would also like to thank, and I'm grateful to my professors who connected me to the right places, and so I could navigate my way through publishing. And in case of my book, so publishing is difficult because there are a lot of publishers, but in not all of them you want to get your work published. So navigating your way through to the right publisher is a difficult task. So yeah, but also the role of networking has a play here. You connect with contemporary writers or people who read a lot and they are aware of publications and journals. So that is how, there is no one particular paved way for how I have found the literary journals, but it's a contribution of a lot of things.
Can you just give some light on the thing, like, is it easy to get published in journals or with any publisher?
So I have a very contradictory answer. It's easy to publish, but yet it's not. So in case of literary journals, what I've seen is that the competition is really high. Even in academic spaces and literary spaces, in both the places, publishing is difficult. It's very competitive. And in case of literary journals, if I'm looking to contribute in a competition, so it's also a matter of luck, because probably there will be 3 editors or 3 judges, and one single short story cannot please all the 3 judges. So that is how your story get picked up. It does not necessarily mean that the writing is faulty or the writing is at fault, but it also matters with your luck. But in case of general contributions in literary magazines, I think the competition is really high, because in most international journals, writers from all around the world are submitting, and you are not aware of the fact with what is the writing standard that you're competing with.
Right.
So there is an uncertain parameter. So that is where I feel in literary journals, publishing is hard. And there are some wonderful editors who really very finely and very intricately curate the work. For example, in some of my literary magazine submissions, I have met wonderful editors who have contributed and who have really effectively shaped my writing. They have commented on my writing and they have asked me to upgrade in a more beautiful way. But the process before the submission and once your writing gets accepted, it's a very high competition. And also I feel that in some magazines, your writing really needs to stand out to get selected. But in case of publishing, in case of book publishing, now there are, according to me, I have divided publishing a book into 3 categories. So there are these big publishers who reaching out is a different ball game altogether. So you cannot generally reach to the bigger publishers, and some have actually mentioned in their websites that unsolicited manuscripts won't be accepted. So reaching out to them in the first place is a big task.
Okay.
But so that is how publishing is difficult for everybody. Not everybody can make it easy to reach to them. But then comes the independent publishers who are for us submitting to them, submitting our manuscript to them is a lot easier. But in case of independent publications also, there is always self-publishing and traditional publishing. In self-publishing, the publisher just gives you a platform. So it becomes easy to publish, but you are burdened with a lot of tasks. You are your own writer, editor, proofreader, copywriter, cover designer, and a lot of responsibility, which is why I did not go to self-publishing. My book is published from an independent publisher as well, but it's in a traditional way of publishing.
Mm.
So the process in big publishers and traditionally publishing in independent publishers is the same almost. So I went for that. And yeah, it's a little difficult to find the right publisher and to send your half of your manuscript and then them asking to show them the work that they desire. Also, I believe the fun part ends after the writing is done. And after that, reaching to the publishers and all the technical work that is not what I enjoy.
Okay, great. Okay, yeah, that is a struggle for writers. Okay.
Yeah.
So where do you want to see yourself as an author in next 5 years?
Uh, so this is a fun question because I had no before 5 years I had no idea that my first book would be published in the next 5 years. So I'm totally completely unaware of the next 5 years because this book that I wrote is a collection of poems and essays that I have wrote throughout time, and some are recently new. And this was a work of curation, and I would like to say that this was not a result of a long-term planning. So it just happened that I got the time and the situation was right that I could curate all of my work and edit all of them. So since this was not planned, so I'm not planning anything that is coming after the publication of my first book. Every appreciation or every benchmark is very new to me, and I've never visualized anything. So I have not planned the next 5 years. And actually, I am now at present writing my next book, which will be a collection of short stories. And I still have no idea when that is going to be completed. Almost 40 to 50% of the work is done, and a lot is left to do now. So in case of planning, there is no plan as such. But in case, if you ask me my desire, I wish to have, not in the next 5 years, but in the upcoming times, I wish to have written this collection of short stories, and I also want to start writing a novel.
Great, congrats. I hope that your wish comes true.
Thank you.
Which writers do you like more? Do you read any contemporary writers?
Yes, I do. So I was a student of literature. I've done my graduation and post-graduation in English literature. So even in my course and outside my course, I had to read a lot of books, and I am a fan of reading and I'm a reader. So that is not a complaint, but I have always liked Indian authors a little more. And then I have also preferred European and American classics, and then Japanese writers as well. But in case of classics, I would prefer Russian literature. I like reading a lot of Dostoyevsky and short stories of Anton Chekhov, because how they get into the human psyche, that is really mesmerizing to me. And in case of contemporary writers, mostly I've read Indian authors like Arundhati Roy, Salman Rushdie, Geetanjali Shree, and Sumana Roy. These are some of my favorite writers. Okay. And they're very inspiring, and they're very through their writing.
Okay. Which books are you currently reading?
So you will find me constantly reading between two books. One is fiction, one is non-fiction. So in fiction, I prefer kind of realistic stories. So currently, I just finished reading The Romantics by Pankaj Mishra. And then I started with another play, that is The Starved. It's a play written by Manglu Charan Biswal. The play is originally written in Sambalpuri, but then it has been translated into English. And I'm reading the translation. and it's a beautiful play about the social hierarchies
Okay.
and the class divisions. And in non-fiction, I'm almost done with the book called Man and His Symbols by Carl Jung.
Okay.
So these are the books I'm jumbling between.
Okay. Now we are coming to the conclusion of our interview. So if you have anything special to share to our audience.
As I said, first of all, I would like to thank you for this opportunity that I got to speak about my reading and my writing. And uh, I would like to say that people nowadays, I have seen that a lot of people are thinking that books are not a viable medium and people are not interested in books anymore. But it is not the case, or else the bookstores and the book fairs would be running out of business. So any day, apart from all the activities, reading and writing still stands out to be number one. So I hope that people don't reach out to conclusions because of such technological developments that books are going to be obsolete and writers are going to be obsolete. And so, yeah, that's it. We should encourage the writers and read more books and support the living artists.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your reviews so clearly and so loudly. I wish you all
Thank you
success
so much.
in future endeavor.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching us. Don't forget to subscribe to us to watch more videos on books and authors.